Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's KB Baby, and today I'm coming at you with a little more of a lax video. We're going to be talking about Doom and the Ancient Gods Part 2, not Part 1. Because I want to do a bit of a speculation slash what are my hopes for the DLC video. And it's mostly because I have not a lot to talk about today as is, so figured I'd give you guys a bit more of a casual video, all things considered. So, without further ado, it's time for me to shill. Did you guys know only 10% of you watch my content and are subscribed, so please change that. I know it's kind of stupid and cringy to, like, shill your shit, especially once that person's, like, a small YouTuber, but it's like, at the same time, come on. How else are you gonna grow your content, right? Also, if you like Doom Eternal, and all that stuff, I have Doom in the background of basically all of my, not all of my videos, but most of my videos, so if you enjoy, be sure to stick around. I'll also probably be talking about doing a bit more of a in-depth review of Doom Eternal and its DLC once the game hits its year anniversary, unless the Ancient Gods comes out on its anniversary, in which case, can't really do much about that, because I'll be playing that, so yeah, if you're a Doom fan, be sure to subscribe. I'm gonna be talking. I'm a real big Doom guy. So, without further ado, let's get on to the video. I should also mention that there is going to be, and I know Doom isn't known for its story, but there's going to be spoilers in this video for the Ancient Gods Part 1 and the Doom Eternal's base game. So if you do have, like, a problem with that and you want to, like, experience it for yourself, or you want to see what happens, you should probably like go watch a YouTube video or play the game yourself, because it's gonna, some of the things I'll talk about requires some context that you'll get into the you'll need from the game. So what do I want from the Ancient Gods Part 2? That is an interesting question. Well, I suppose we should talk about what we already know is going to be part of the DLC. And the first thing I'm going to want to talk about is something that I've actually wanted, I think, since the base game, which is, if you don't know, the double barrel shotgun has a grappling hook attachment, which you can use to hook onto enemies, bring yourself closer to them, or you can use some basically movement tech. If you're familiar with fighters or stuff, you'll be familiar with what tech means. If you don't, basically it's just, you know, a skill or a mechanic that you can use and abuse to do some interesting stuff. So you can use the grappling hook to do some interesting, like, movement tech, like crossing large distances, getting to areas that you probably could get to normally, or rather, there's a different intended path for you to use, but you can use the grappling hook to get there quicker. Yeah, there's going to be platforming with that now, which is something that I am very interested in, because one of the concepts I had in my head for what a boss fight in Doom Eternal could be that would be really awesome is to use the grappling hook with the platforming to, like, move from platform to platform, so that to avoid attacks and such like that. And that was like, that's like how I was thinking the Icon of Sin boss fight would probably go. And actually, I was also thinking like a boss fight between the Titan and the Blood Swamps would go like that. But I'm glad to hear that that's coming, because a lot of people like to fucking bitch and complain about the fucking parkour and platforming and Doom Eternal. And it's something I've always kind of gotten, like, yeah, like, I get that it's not the best in the world, but at the same time, it's not supposed to be. The way I've always looked at it is just, it's a neat way to get from point A to point B. Doom Eternal is not a platforming game, and it's, like, another way I look at it is, in Doom 2016, you would go from place to place by just holding the W or the left stick for, like, a minute or two. Well, that's me being a little harsh. More like a minute 30. To get to point A to point B. Now you have something that's a little more complicated. Granted, it's not too in-depth, but it's just complicated enough to make it a little more engaging. Which is why I always found it weird when people called the platforming a pace killer in Doom Eternal. because I thought that it actually made the pace of the game a little better than Doom 2016, but that's just me. Also, another confirmed thing, we know for a fact that, well, we don't know for a fact, but we know we're going to hell again, at least once more. But, the way Hugo described it is taking you to locations in hell you've never seen before. So that means we have at least 2 levels in hell, which is great. We had a couple, like, 3 or 4 levels in hell in base game, but, 2 of those levels were basically the same place but different parts. That's Necroball to all my Doom heads out there. You know what's up. But, yeah, it's very interesting. I wonder if we're going to have all 3 of them, all 3 of the levels, because I'm going to assume they were still getting 3 levels. We're not going to probably get 4 or 5, but if we do, then that's a really nice surprise. But, yeah, like, all 3 hell levels, that would be interesting. And the hell levels are supposed to be related to, and again, this is where the spoiler comes in, the Dark Lord. So yeah, moving on to the next point, using that as a transition, we're going to be fighting the Dark Lord, and it is said by Hugo Martin to be their best boss fight yet, right? And, that's fair, because there's a lot of hype, I'd say, because even in the earlier Doom games, it's kind of like, what would Satan be depicted as, right? What would the Lord of Hell what would a fight against him be? So this has kind of been like something that's indirectly been brewing for like a couple decades. So I'm really glad that we're gonna finally kick Satan's ass. I'm also really excited because I'm a fan of Devil May Cry and I like the duality of like characters, and having Satan look like Doom Guy is a really nice touch. So having that duality gives me some very heavy Dante/Virgil vibes. If anybody knows what Devil May Cry is, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you don't, well, Devil May Cry is awesome. You should also go play that if you have nothing to play and you want to look for something. But yeah, we're going to be fighting him, and I wonder if he's going to transform, or if it's going to be, like, just mano-y-mano, like, humanoid size, kind of like the imps or soldiers, like the size of Doom Guy. That would be very interesting, and that would lead to some very interesting boss fight, just in theory. How would you do that? I'm not entirely sure. But I have high hopes because the Icon of Sin boss fight, it was pretty alright. It did everything it needed to. I'd have to go through it again on Nightmare to like really judge the value of it, because I can't remember off the top of my head if it was too easy or hard, but that's besides the point. I also really like the boss fights in the DLC. Every level ended kind of with a big arena or a boss fight. In the Bloodspawn's case, it technically ended with a big arena, then a boss fight. And then the Urdak one, the Holt, yeah. Going against Samuel Hayden was really a real fan service moment, not gonna lie. And I'm really, also side note, really glad that he ain't dead yet, because because the boss fight was cool and all, but it was still, not up to what I would ever think of a Samuel Hayden boss fight would be. I'm like, with that, I'm thinking kind of on the levels of hype of Icon of Sin, right? And it came out of nowhere too, so I'm also glad, But in terms of things I actually want to see, like things that have not been confirmed, one thing I definitely want, well, what I would like is more than 3 levels, but I understand if they can't get more than 3. But if they can, that's awesome. But it's not a deal breaker if they can't. Another thing, every level in the Ancient Gods Part 1 had some sort of new enemy or mechanic associated with it. UIC Atlantica had the turrets, and it also was throwing loads of hard enemies at you, but that was with everything in the Ancient Gods. second thing. Second level, Blood Swamps, they threw the spirits at you, and the large tentacles, but they were only like 2 or 3 times in the level, so not really gonna count them. But yeah, the spirit was a delightful pain in the ass. I don't know if I'd like something that just infuses itself with other enemies. I definitely like less ambient and more like actual demons, if that makes sense. Like, what I really want also is at least one new super heavy demon, because for fuck's sake, those like people say Marauders is the hardest enemy in the game. In my opinion, it's gotta be the fucking Archviles. I hate those motherfuckers with a passion. Well, I like to hate. I love them that I hate, you know the fucking phrase, feeling, whatever it is. But, and then lastly, there's the, Bloodmakers, right? And those guys are awesome. I like them, even though they're only in one level, it's hard to judge them completely, but I think they're a fine addition to the Maker kind of line of enemies. Something that's always surprised me is how, few Maker enemies there were in the base game. I would always, and I suppose even still, there's only 2 of like the huge roster of demons. I don't know if I'd want one in another Maker enemy on a DLC centered around Hell, but definitely at some point I'd like to see more, because I think like we are already kind of shaping up to have a second year of DLC, because the Season 1 pass is like named Year 1 pass, which I don't know what you would do, because after killing the Dark Lord, there's really not too much you can do outside of that, but it is interesting nonetheless. So yeah, just more like demons like that are kind of fully functional, like Bloodmakers, would be awesome. A new weapon would be reaching of quite a bit, but I would be interested. Even if it's like only a gimmicky thing. Also, another thing, something like make the level, in terms of level design, kind of some gimmicks would be okay. Making things kind of unique would be awesome. I'm not sure. I think there's not a lot I can really ask for, because Doom is a great game of just, like, I have a feeling that everything I want will be there. Well, everything I need to enjoy it will be there, and anything that I don't like know that I want will probably be there. Like, you know those things and get like any media where it's like you never knew you wanted it, but now that you have it, you love it. Yeah, I feel like that would be awesome. We're gonna get some of those, at least from my opinion, right? Can't really ask for much. Aside from that, like, I don't know, because I do feel like the limitations of working at home are definitely a part of the reason why I don't know what to really say. Oh, I guess there is like one thing I can say in terms of like art style, like color palette, which I really can't control anything about that, right? Especially with how far we've come, but I guess what I'd want, if not every level is part of Hell, I'd want like one level on Mars, one more level at least, or Phobos, alternatively. But yeah, I think that's just about it. Oh yeah, I was talking about color palette. Maybe a level that's purple. I don't think we've gotten like a really purple-centric level. I know the Holt's kind of purple, but that's also Maker. I guess I really don't have much else to say. So, in the interest of time, right? We're gonna leave it here. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. God bless your souls. Stay rad. Don't be radicalized. I've been KB Baby, and I'm signing out. Peace.
a Saturday night.